Howdy folks, it's Nito with AP 2020 Outdoors Adventures. Very excited to show you my Ruger Mark IV 22 long rifle pistol. This is actually the generation 4 of the series of pistols originally designed by Bill Ruger. You know, years ago, my buddy had, I think he had a Mark I or Mark II, the slap side, which was an awesome target pistol. The one big issue I had with that pistol was actually taking it down for cleaning. And obviously Ruger has finally listened to the legions of Ruger Mark Series 22 pistol fans, and now they've highly simplified. You know, all you have to do is flip the safety. Well, number one, you got to make sure it's cocked. Number two, flip the safety lever up, and then there's a simple little takedown button right here. You just depress that. Oh, look at that. Comes right out. That's pretty easy. I mean, it's a lot better. Y'all that are familiar with the the Ruger Mark series of pistols. You had this lever back here, and then you had the hammer and sear spring. You had to sit there and do this number. A lot of times you'd forget. I actually did it one time. It took me about, I don't know, over an hour, and it was just like, nah, never again. So anyways, the heart of this video is not so much the Ruger Mark IV pistol. I'll do that for another video. It's the my buddy Scott Volquartsen over at Volquartsen Rifles, Firearms. He sent me this Mark IV Accurizing kit, which essentially is a trigger, sear, and then you actually eliminate the magazine disconnect on the Ruger Mark IV designs, which is actually a pretty good thing. You know, some folks can argue the pros and cons of a magazine disconnector, but myself, I don't care for them. There's a couple things with the Ruger Mark series of 22 pistols, is that, you know, for whatever reasons, I'm not a lawyer, I don't claim to be an attorney, but the triggers on these are just, you know, they're just, I don't know, they're extremely stiff. And I'll go ahead and take some readings before and after I actually install the trigger. Alright, stay tuned. Let's do some trigger pull test right now. Alright, so I have my old school. This is an RCBS trigger scale, circa probably 1990. You know, I still rely upon it. You know, the springs are probably fairly decent. You know, it's not the newfangled digital trigger scales, but I rely upon it. I think it's you know, accurate. We'll go ahead and use I've got a dummy 22 round to save the firing pins. You know, a lot of guys, you shouldn't drop the firing pin on a 22. You're going to damage the firing pin eventually. About 6.5 pounds. We'll do a couple more here. Pretty consistent, right around 6.5 pounds. Alright folks, so I won't make this a full-blown install video. There's actually a couple good videos on YouTube right now where gentlemen have taken the time to actually show the detailed installation. I'm not going to bore you with those details. I'll go ahead and keep the time-lapse video camera going on, but I'll go ahead and hopefully next time you see me, I'll have this put back together. Fingers crossed. Oh, happy days. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, if you watch the time lapse, there's a couple times I was like scratching my head. I'll be truthful with you. I watched a YouTube video yesterday. It was about a half an hour long, and I studied it as best as I can. You know, I've been playing around with taking guns apart, oh my gosh, well over half my life. You know, that's well over 25 years. And I'll tell you a quick story. I remember the first time I ever took a 1911 apart, and to this day at my parents' old house, there's probably a couple of springs that are still somewhere in the carpet because I never found them. But I never let that discourage me. You know, eventually I figured out what I was doing. Thank goodness thank the good Lord that there's YouTube, because that guy that I watched his video actually pulled it up on my smartphone and I got it together. You know, if you all aren't comfortable doing this kind of work, obviously take it to a gunsmith. You know, that's what they do for a living. Myself, I persevered. But anyways, let's go ahead and take some trigger pull readings. You know, I think originally it was, I think 6.5 pounds, the stock trigger. We'll go ahead and take a couple readings here. Oh, beautiful. Slightly over 3.5 pounds. I don't know if y'all can see that. Tell you what, let's go ahead and shoot this bad boy, see what she's made out of. Tell you what, this bolt slide, the bolt release, get a little bit easier. Maybe just needs broken in. This is a brand new pistol, by the way. Oh yeah. Alright folks, well I'll tell you what, very impressed with the Ruger Mark IV and the Volquartsen Accurizing kit. You know, it dropped the trigger weight from, you know, almost 6.5 pounds down to about 3.5, 3.25 pounds. Pretty awesome. You know, you can adjust the trigger for take up, which is a top screw, and over travel. You know, once you get it set to where you like it, back the screws off about a half a turn just for reliability. Obviously, the Ruger Mark IV Lite, it's got a threaded barrel, half 28. Stay tuned. I'm going to be putting on my Rebel Silencer's SOS 22 can suppressor silencer. Got a Picatinny rail. Going to mount that sight mark. I think it's a Wolverine red dot. Going to be some fun. This Nito with AP 2020 Outdoors Adventures. Oh, one more thing, forgot to mention. The Volquartsen, the Mark IV bolt release, I could not get to work on this specific pistol. I'll have to get a hold of Scott and ask him what's going on there. But anyways, I highly recommend the Volquartsen Mark IV Accurizing kit for your Ruger Mark IV pistol. We'll see you later.